Welcome to all of you. Myself Dr. Neha Desai, Assistant Professor in Department of Chemistry, RBNB College, Sri Rampur. In the last lecture, we have started with the ion exchange chromatography from HPLC methods. In that lecture, we have discussed about the definition of ion exchange chromatography, that is what is meant by the ion exchange chromatography, and then we have discussed about the two types of ion exchanger, that is cation exchanger and the anion exchanger. Now after this we will study the properties of the ion exchange chromatography. Before that we have already discussed the different types of abbreviations used for the ion exchange chromatography. Now what are the properties? Mainly the properties of ion exchanger, they are dependent on pH. So in case of ion exchange chromatography, you can analyze the samples of weak acids and weak bases, and strong acids and strong bases are also there. But as the properties of the ion exchanger, they are pH dependent, you can analyze the weak acids and weak bases by using the ion exchange chromatography. But when you go for the strong acids and strong bases, then they will directly interact with your ion exchange material, and so you cannot properly analyze the strong acids and strong bases. So analysis of weak acids and weak bases is possible by using the ion exchange chromatography. Now as far as the pH dependence is considered, it normally works in the pH range of 2 to 8, and you have to properly adjust the pH. Now what about the materials used for the HPLC method? So for the different materials used for the HPLC method, the first one is we are interested in the different types of resins. So the resin material which is used, it is basically the styrene divinyl benzene or silica. So the choice of resin material, this is the first thing. Second thing is the pH of the ion exchange material, and third one, whether you are using a cation exchange column or the anion exchange column. All these facts determines the properties of ion exchange chromatography. If you want to analyze the cations, then you will go for the cation exchanger. If you want to analyze the different types of anions, then you will go for the anion exchanger. Along with the choice of cation exchanger, anion exchanger, and the material used for the resin, it is very necessary to adjust the pH. As far as pH is concerned, you can do the analysis of weak acids and weak bases, because the ion exchange material can work in the 2 to 8 pH range, but for strongly acidic and strongly basic conditions, you cannot prefer to use the ion exchange material. Hence, for the strong acid and strong bases, it is not suitable to use the ion exchange chromatography. Now after this, the next important point that you have to consider, it is about the retention behavior. Now, how strongly your analyte interacts with the column, that fact will decide the retention behavior. So, if there is a strong affinity between the material and the ion exchange column, then it is strongly held together. As it is strongly held, it will require a more time for the separation, and hence you can say that the retention volume is high or the retention behavior is high one. When there is a weaker affinity in between the substances that you want to analyze and your ion exchange column, then as a result of weaker affinity the separation will take place at a faster rate, so you can say that the retention behavior is low. So the retention behavior as well as the separation of analyte are very important, and they are largely dependent on the properties of different ion exchange material. So after studying these different properties, it is also very necessary to study the ion exchange capacity. As far as the ion exchange capacity is considered, the cation exchanger and the anion exchanger, these are basically the two types of ion exchange material. Now capacity means what? How much volume can be separated by using a given cation exchange column or an anion exchange column. That means normally when you are dealing the experiment in your laboratory, you can analyze 100 ml of a sample or 200 ml of a sample in one stroke. For the industrial purpose, you can analyze 100 liters or 200 liters of a sample in one stroke. So this is about the capacity, and ion exchange capacity plays very important role, because during the continuous use the ion exchange column is blocked after some days, and due to blocking, regeneration of the column is necessary. When any cation exchanger or anion exchanger is continuously used, then after the frequent use, after some days, the ion exchange column, it loses its efficiency, or you can say that it cannot work with its 100% capacity. At that time the regeneration of the column is very important. Then you can regenerate the column, and after regeneration it is again available with their active ions, that is such as H plus or OH minus ion, and after the availability of these active ions, then you can further use it. So the regeneration of the column is the very important step. Now if you consider the cation exchanger or the anion exchanger, we will see one graph related to the exchange capacity. So if you compare the cation exchange capacity and the anion exchange capacity, then such type of graph is obtained. So this is considered as the exchange capacity graph for the weak acid and weak bases for the cation exchanger as well as the anion exchanger in case of the ion exchange chromatography. So with this cation exchanger and anion exchanger graph, what we can say that the principle is valid for the use of weak acid or weak base, because and you cannot use the strong acid or strong base by using the ion exchange chromatography, because the retention behavior of the analyte is highly influenced by the pH of a mobile phase, and this pH range for the cation exchanger as well as the anion exchanger is explained here with the help of a graph. So this is all about the different properties of the ion exchanger. For that, what we can say, that is all the ion exchange material, they are of complex nature. Cation exchanger and anion exchanger, these are the two main types. They are highly dependent on the pH of the mobile phase, and pH of the mobile phase directly affects their retention behavior as well as the separation capacity. Now after studying these different properties of ion exchange material, the next thing is the influence of the mobile phase. So how the mobile phase affects the ion exchange chromatography for the separation, this is the important phenomena. So the next point is the influence of the mobile phase. So several equilibrium conditions are observed in case of ion exchange chromatography. So they are controlled by the equilibrium constant. Now for cation exchange chromatography, cation exchange is a function of the first one, the cation exchange, and then we will go for the anion exchange. So cation exchange, it is used when the molecule of interest is positively charged. That means if you want to analyze the positively charged ions, then you will go for the cation exchanger. So cation exchange is a function of a competition between sample ions, a competition between the sample ions and Na plus counter ion. Now second is it is also a function of the ionic strength of a sample. Ionic strength of a sample ion, then ionic strength of a counter ion, then basic strength of a sample, now after the basic strength of a sample, next important thing is the pH of a mobile phase. So the cation exchange is a function of pH of a mobile phase as well as acid strength of the cation exchanger. Okay, so this is all about the influence of the mobile phase. Cation exchange, if you consider, then cation exchange is a function of competition between the sample ions and the counter ions. Counter ions and sample ions, what is the difference? Actually, the sample that you want to analyze, the cations which are present in the sample ion, we call it as sample ions, and the cations which are supplied through the ion exchange column, they are called as counter ions. Then it is also depend on the ionic strength of a sample ion, then ionic strength of a counter ion, then pH of a mobile phase, it also plays a very important role, then basic strength of a sample and acidic strength of the cation exchanger. All these are the different factors which directly affect the separation of the analyte. Now, what are the conclusions that can be drawn by studying these different aspects? So the conclusions drawn from these are as follows. So the first conclusion, it is with respect to the counter ion. That means if you increase the counter ion concentration in case of cation exchanger, then it will reduce the retention time. Okay, so an increase in concentration of counter ion results in decrease in the retention time. So an increase in the concentration of a counter ion, it results in the decrease of the retention time. That means it directly affects the constant K, that is the equilibrium constant K. So this is the first conclusion drawn, that is increase in concentration of counter ion results in the decrease of the retention behavior. Then the second conclusion is that as increase in the pH, increase in the value of pH, it reduces the retention time in cation exchanger. So an increase in pH results in decrease in the retention time in cation exchanger. Okay, now this is the second conclusion drawn. Along with this, the third conclusion is that a decrease in the pH, it also reduces the retention time in the anion exchange also. So all this is related to the what are the effect of cation exchanger and what are the effect of increasing the pH on the retention time. That is, increase in the pH, it reduces the retention time. Now this is about the retention time of a cation exchanger. Now it is also very important to study what is their effect on the anion exchanger. So the next is the ion exchange chromatography. It is also influenced by the choice of a counter ions in the ion exchanger. So what are its effect on the anion exchange chromatography, that we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you.